Oh, cool. So here's that picture from your manufacturing facility back in the days when they
That's
actually
great.
made things here in the valley. Of course, we're doing that again now. But so the upper left, I guess, was that old roller skating rink kind of near here and near San Jose Airport. And the lower one is Los Gatos.
I think that is correct.
Yeah.
They're doing
Yeah.
Grand Prix.
So just a little perspective from 1973. And then we've got a very interesting story with the next image here.
Yeah.
And that's, you want to talk a little bit about key games.
Well, why'd you do key games? Make a competitor, Nolan.
I wanted world domination. And it turns out that there is a two coin-op distributors in every city, and some had 3.
Yeah.
And
Wurlitzer, Rockola, Seaberg, jukebox lines.
exactly. And one had, Gottlieb pinballs,
Yeah.
another one would have Williams pinballs,
Valley,
and what have you. And what was happening is we had chosen the best distributor in each area, but the guys who didn't have the Atari brand were doing everything they could to spawn a competitor. And I thought to myself, let's
Make that one.
let's make that happen. And so Joe Keenan, who was my next door neighbor, another exhaustive search for people, came over and I said, what I really need is another company. And so we took the number 2 engineer, which was Bristow, the
Right.
number 2 manufacturing guys, which was
Gil.
that Gil?
Gil.
And we took in our lineup every other game, and we gave it to Key, and all of a sudden, and this was, we started Key games literally in August, and they were up and spinning by the November AMOA show.
Right.
And their goal was to pick up every distributor that we didn't have.
Double our volume.
Double our volume.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were telling all the distributors at the time, those bastards are stealing our games. And the distributors, no, and they run right over to them and buy the games. So we knew what was going on. And we gave them, but I think it's more important, we gave them the one game on the right, the driving game, the Grand Track we had running, and they stole that game from us and ran with it. And then they went off, and Bristow and Lyle Raines invented Tank. And like, no shit, they could actually do some stuff, and then we took that back in too, and then we eventually merged the companies. But it was a lot of fun at the distributor meetings where we would just rag on those bastards over at Key Games, stealing our stuff, stealing our employees, no less.
Well, I knew that we couldn't keep it a secret forever. And so the coin-op business ran on basically gossip. And so I started the thing that they had stolen a bunch of our stuff and that we were suing them. And then I said, we've settled. But I slow rolled it a little more. We've settled for some shares. And then settled for a lot of their shares. And then we got a majority, and then I said, we decided to buy the rest of the shares and merge the companies together.
Oh, but the distributors, they wanted to believe it was enough. They really wanted that company to exist.
Well, you had one more title. You had horror games too.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah. Tell about horror. There was a third company.
A third division.
Third division horror games.
Well, didn't have the Atari logo on it.
No, it didn't.
No.
We didn't want the Atari logo on it. Can you imagine why?
Well, we thought that the video game business was sort of pristine and kind of, we wanted it to be somewhat happy. Like, we had a rule that you couldn't shoot at a humanoid.
Right.
You could blow up a tank, you could blow up an airplane, but you couldn't shoot at a human. Well, Jaws came along, and we just thought it just had to be, there had to be a shark game out there. And so we decided we'd do horror games, and we did a game called Shark Jaws. It was actually a stinker. But
It was the thought that counts.
You just didn't want the Atari name on it, right?
Oh, no.
no. Well, you know, the part that a lot of people don't realize is that we were heavily copied
Oh,
by
geez. Man.
for Pong. Al did it such a brilliant design that we didn't have our patents yet, and they just Xeroxed his board.
Right. Well, in fact, they didn't even have to. One of our suppliers who was supplying us boards was supplying them raw boards too. So he had split it. Remember, Marty?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
At one point, we thought we had 15,555 timers in inventory. And we're reading a rag sheet about Signetics, who was building these things. They hadn't made 15,000 yet. And we thought we had them in inventory. Yeah. We ran over, and we didn't have any. Yeah, we had some problems.